Welcome back to the channel, and today I've got some big news about the 2.3 Trailmakers update that is coming out soon, because this might be one of the most game-changing updates yet. And I'm just talking about the free parts of the update, not even including the DLC. So in this video, we're going to go into all the stuff that they have revealed so far, and we're going to talk about it because this is going to be amazing for everything. So over on the Flashbulb channel, the first thing that they released was this trailer for, they called it We Got Melee in Trailmakers before GTA 6. And this is what's in the trailer. Oh yeah, part of it, the melee, is also the Pioneers is getting a rework apparently. But this isn't the important part. All right, 1x1 servo. Look at that. That's big. Really, really big. We also have a big old joint there. Crab dance. So you can crab dance. And then here's the really big thing about this update is dedicated melee weapons that are actually designed for melee. So we got like a sword, we got a dagger, and then I need it for this block. Other one. Oh, okay. I'm in the video too. I actually forgot about this. Yes, we get wedge corners. So yeah, let's go in reverse here. 1x1x3 wedge. I think we have more than just the 1x1x3 wedge. So aesthetics are gonna go through the roof because of that. But we've got 3 new energy weapons here. Where are they? Energy scythe, that was the first one. Yeah, so as far as I can tell, these things are energy weapons, so they don't have like collisions in and of themselves, but they cause damage to things that are in their hitbox, so you can hit things without blowing yourself up. I mean, the demonstration here, he's kind of blowing himself up because he's coming in physical contact with the thing as well. But if you were more precise with your melee weapon, then you'd be able to just hit them with the melee weapon, causing damage. Also, if we go back, we got this mechanical joint here, which is just going to streamline a lot of parts of building, because right now, if you want to make a mechanical joint like this, you got to kind of use a rotating servo, but then you need an attachment point on like the front side of the servo and the back side of the servo for that to work, to make like a hinge. So then you have like 2 pieces that are like thicker. They have like two blocks of width at least. Whereas this, you can make a nice mechanical joint with only 1 block width. So that's gonna be nice. And also, of course, 1x1 servo. This is going to make all kinds of things possible. Center points for wheels that aren't wheels, potentially. Also these legs, because you can see these legs use these mechanical joints as well. So you have a 1 block attachment point, and then it stays 1 block thick, going out to another thing. So this whole leg has a profile of a single block in thickness, despite all of these joints, which if you've built anything with walking animations or legs and stuff before, you've noticed that you have to keep putting layers next to each other and increasing the thickness of the legs and stuff. So this is going to be big, especially for mechs and all that stuff. And probably a lot of other things too. This trailer doesn't really do justice on how good the melee weapons are, and for that we have the dev stream. So in the dev stream, they go over some of the visual changes to the Pioneers and stuff, but show me the melee weapons. All right, they started with the hinges. So we got the 2x1 block hinge, which I think oh, there's the settings. I wanted to see the settings. Where's the settings? Here we go. Okay, so you can set the angle. It goes up to 90 degrees, which is good. Also has the hold position function, and pretty much the same thing you're gonna get with like the single hinge, like the steering hinge, but in a 2x2 form factor. Because even the large hinge that is 2 blocks wide, that can't go 90 degrees. That is not set up to go 90 degrees. That I think it can only go maximum of 60 degrees the way it's designed. So this essentially gives you 90-degree capability in a 2x2 form factor here, but only 1 block in height. Then we got rotating servo, the single block servo joint, which by the looks of it probably acts just like a rotating servo, but it's 1 block wide. So it's a new 1x1 block. We got a new 1x1 block. Also, what's cool about this, I believe, is not only does this attach front to back like your rotating servo does. But unlike the rotating servo, I think this thing also has a sideways attachment point, which is actually really convenient for keeping your form factor under control. Yeah, see, there's the attachment point right there. So if you wanted like a piece and then you wanted another piece here to rotate around, you don't have to attach one piece on the bottom and then have the servo joint in between both pieces. You could actually have them be flush with each other like this, so that one goes into the side of the rotational joint and then the other one goes right on top. So that's actually going to be really convenient to have that side attachment there. And then we've got the wedge blocks. This is a 1x1x3. I don't know, do they show other ones here? That's still the 1x1x3. All right, the reason I think that there's not just the 1x1x3 is because if you look here, I don't know what's going on with these images, but it looks like all these ones other than this 1x1x3 are also wedge corners. So I think we're getting multiple wedge corners. I don't know if they were trying to hide them or if this is some type of glitch or something, but they're not getting past me. I know a wedge when I see one, even if it's covered with a weird green splotch. All right, and then of course we've got the melee weapons, which as you can see are deployable. So you can see the part right here, and when he presses a button, whatever the activation button is, it goes from not there to there. So that's going to be cool. Then you can see it in action as far as just being like swiped around. La la la. And here, Johannes is going to attempt to use it on another creation. And he hit the creation with his fist instead of the weapon. So it did not demonstrate the weapon's capabilities whatsoever. And he's just moving on from that. And here we get to see an aesthetic use of it, which is amazing looking. Like, look at these. These are the, I think probably the sword. Yeah, the scythe, sword, and dagger. These might be the dagger. I don't know the difference between the sword and the dagger aesthetically just yet. But those things are really cool. And these are actually really powerful for aesthetics. And I'll show you, like, even more so than you would think. Like, adding those the way that they are is easier than you would think, because you can see they're on slight angles, and that is built into the settings on the on these swords themselves. Yeah, look at those. Yeah, like the ones in the front, you can see they're at this really cool angle, and angles just make everything look cooler instead of just being on a 90-degree grid. But take a look. Let's take a look if we can find where they look at the settings on these things, because that's going to show you the real potential of these. Oh, but we're taking a detour. This is actually an example of the hinges being attached on the side here. So you can see they're being used as steering, actually. So a new type of steering. Rather than using a steering hinge, you can use this. And you can see it's attached on the top and on the side. So that's pretty cool use for it. All right, we're getting into another demo. Here we go. This is a good demo of the energy weapons actually being used effectively. So you can see they have no collision physically with what they're touching, but everything that they do touch gets damaged. And the way I understand it is it does damage over time as well as contact damage. So the faster you hit something, the more initial contact damage it does. But then if you stay inside of the blocks that aren't yet destroyed, it will continue to damage them as they stay inside. So melee combat, battle bots are going to get completely, like, there's going to be so much more potential with battle bots. All right, here we go. We're at the settings. So not only can you change the size of these things, like, look at this. Look at the difference in the size there. That's a massive scythe right there. But if you look at the settings, you can also change the rotation. So that's what I was talking about with that that spaceship thing that had the swords like angled in like this. You don't have to put them on a bearing or like a rotating servo and set the angle of the servo to the angle that you want. It is just a built-in option. You can have them whatever angle you want spawned in that way, like by default. And that is gonna make aesthetics are gonna just like, they're gonna go crazy now. Especially this, you can change the size. You can fine-tune the size to exactly how big you want it so it meshes with your vehicle just the way that you want it. So that's going to be really cool. So then here's the tiniest version of the scythe. So you can compare that to the previous one was like the bigger version. Yep. And now he's going to show the rotation. So right now, I think he has a thing off by default, which means you can't see it in build mode. But I think if you toggle this off, then you will see it in build mode. I don't know if he's going to do that right now. And there he goes. All right, he did it. And now, yeah, you can see he just rotated it 180 degrees, close to 180 degrees. Yep, there you go. There's the rotation. And here are all of the different shapes of melee weapons side by side, so we can see the differences. And it seems, from what I can tell, they are functionally pretty much the same thing. They're just different aesthetic styles. And these are free. These are not part of a DLC. These are just going to be available to everybody. There you go. That's a good view. That's a good view of these things. You can change the colors as well. Such an awesome addition to the game for battle bots and melee. So yeah, these are all the new parts that we got in this part of the update. All right, so obviously this is significant and game-changing, but this isn't even the most game-changing part. Like, what we're about to go through next is going to expand Trailmakers into we're leveling up a lot as far as what kind of builds are going to be even possible. And that is showcased in this trailer briefly right here. Let's check it out. Radio sender sends radio waves to a radio receiver. So this means remote control vehicle support, official remote control vehicle support. Radio receiver receives radio waves from a radio sender. As you can see, we got a horse with no seat on it over there, and it is following the character by itself because it is programmed to do so. We can now remote control things. Camera drone, switch a camera to this third-person camera block. This one I don't quite understand as much. I'm hoping that the live stream illuminates that a little bit. But they are going to send out a drone, and that transition was so smooth to like the camera drone. I don't know exactly how that works, because we have position sensor as well, a longitude and latitude sensor that can be connected to other blocks. This is where I feel like the gap, the ceiling of Trailmakers capabilities, like as far as the complexity of creations, is skyrocketing, I think, with this update. And then the gap between like your casual player capability and your like die-hard like super logic player capability, it's gonna widen here, because a lot of logic right now, a lot of the stuff people do with logic to show off their logic capabilities, we have other blocks that can kind of do it more easily. Like, for instance, like the gyro stabilizers, the gyro, like all that stuff, like keeping a nice stable creation. You don't need to know a bunch of logic to build a super stable, easy to control creation. But what we're doing with these position sensors and these remote control blocks, like, knowing logic is gonna increase your capabilities to be able to do crazy things that we don't have other shortcuts to do. Because now we have this thing here, like a logic output channel. So yeah, things are gonna get complex. I'm assuming, I don't know for sure, but I'm assuming this is how you can have different remote control creations not crosswire with each other and not interfere with each other. You can choose channels for them to receive and output to. So that way you can have something receive a remote control from your creation and another receive remote control from a different creation, and not have them remote control each other necessarily. These position sensors, I think, are what allows for some insane stuff when it comes to remote control. All right, so they open up the live stream, and what's happening at the beginning of the live stream, which I feel like probably isn't super easy to accomplish, but they're on a bus here, and this bus does not have a driver. And this bus is traversing the entire map, and then it stops at designated rest points, opens the doors, waits for a few seconds, and then the doors close. It also has some hydraulic pistons, as you'll see. It raises itself back up like a real bus. And then continues on its way. So I think using these position sensors, the creator of this has designated certain points, certain positions on the map to be rest points, and it is programmed somehow to drive from point to point. And I have not played with these parts yet. I don't know exactly how easy or hard it is to work all this out. But I'm assuming that this isn't 101 level of using these parts. This seems like it would be very difficult to do this, but you can do it, which is what makes me feel like the ceiling is raising and the gap between casual and super try-hard Trailmakers players is gonna grow here. All right, so this is something pretty crazy too. The drone and the tank are connected remotely, and the drone sends its position to the tank of where the drone is looking. So the drone can go and identify a target and then tell the tank to shoot the target. Okay, so here's where I'm talking about where I feel like this stuff is going to be way over my head and require a lot of expertise. Listen to the description for how this works when it comes to the drone telling the tank where to aim.
Yeah, so the
here we go.
tank aims where the drone is looking.
Oh God, what happened?
And it uses the position sensors on both the tank and the drone to get the difference, and it also uses the A102 function to calculate the angle. So there's a new function that uses the logic output channels.
All right, so from what I'm gathering there's some math involved to discover the difference between the tank's position and the drone's position, so that way they can figure out the position of the aiming. And then there is a new function, I think you call it like the A102 function or something. There's a new like mathematical function which they're using to predict the trajectory, I think, of the tank's shots. So that stuff is all way over my head for sure, but when it comes to the workshop, stuff is about to go insane on the workshop. So here we go, arctan2 function. So I don't know what that means, but apparently it allows you to predict trajectories of shooting. So here's another crazy thing here. So what's going on here is obviously Pac-Man, but you can see there's 2 ghosts on the board right now. But I think if you watch Lucrum over here, he spawns in something, and when he spawns this thing in, now there's more ghosts on the board. So what's happening is remote controlled creations can eliminate the complexity limit, because as you can see, this creation is already super complex with tons of logic gates. Obviously creating a Pac-Man game is just like you need some very, very, very high knowledge bar in logic. Then he has a separate logic creation per ghost, and he has it programmed up with the remote sensor so it can communicate with the original creation just simply by spawning it in. So now he can have a separate module that adds a ghost to the Pac-Man game just by having it exist anywhere in the map, essentially. And it does not interfere with the complexity limit of the original creation because it is considered an actual separate creation. So that is one thing, one big benefit to some of the remote capabilities is you can have creations interact without them having to be part of the same blueprint and avoiding complexity limits. Of course, do so at your own risk, because the more complex stuff you spawn in, the more likely you're gonna mess up your game. So then here's an example of all these horses are trained to follow this receiver or this sender. So wherever Johannes drives the pickup truck, the horses will follow. So you can have just little creations that follow you around, which I think they're also demonstrating another more nefarious use of that, which is missiles that will search and destroy. So I think Johannes is trying to get away right now, and there's a whole missile arsenal over there that is going to be fired very soon. Yep, there's some missiles going now, so any moment now they will zero in, and there you go. So I don't know how hard that is to program things that follow other things, but obviously if you wanted to follow a creation, they're probably going to need a receiver on their creation. I don't think you can just do it to any creation that exists in the field. They will probably have to be a willing participant to put the receiver on their creation. So I think what we're looking at here is this is the drone thing with the camera drone. So if we go back a little bit, we have like this big old tank creation that has 3 different cubbies here. And when he opens the cubby, a drone pops out and activates the camera drone, or the camera drone, the camera block that is on the drone that gives you a 3rd-person view. And then he just pressed another button to release another drone, which did not work out too well for that drone. Then you press a third button to release another drone, and that did not work out for that drone either. Okay. All right, here we go. Now we've got multiple drones out. So I think by pressing certain buttons, he will be able to switch at will between the 3 drones. So now he's on drone 3, third person. And then you press another button, and then you can see it switch to drone 2. So it seems like you can have multiple camera blocks out on other creations to give yourself a third-person view, a remote third-person view, even when you're in a separate creation. So I can think of like I can think of literally the opposite of human guided missile, remote guided missile, where you send out a missile from your creation that you can remote control the missile. And you could probably set up logic so that when you activate the camera on the remote control missile, it deactivates the controls on your source build. And maybe even it activates like a stabilization so that like it doesn't like slide around or anything. And then you can remote control a missile, have it hit, and then come back to your own creation with the camera. And I just heard them confirm that the RC blocks have an infinite range. So anywhere on the map, doesn't matter where you are, you can use an RC block. So they get into a lot more technical stuff in this hour-long live stream if you want to get more into the nitty-gritty than what I'm covering here. But it's not over, because now we've got the teaser trailer for the actual DLC. So all the stuff that you just saw so far is just free in the update. Remote control stuff, melee weapons, new servos and hinges, wedge block, most importantly, the corner wedge. But a lot of this stuff is gearing towards mechs just being overall easier to build and cooler and better with the melee weapons and the hinges and the servos. So of course they're also going to be releasing a DLC with some extra parts and fun things and skins and stuff like that. So let's take a look at the DLC trailer to see what it looks like. Fancy, very fancy cockpit. What is that there? Is that real? Can't tell if that was real or like edited in post. I think we can see some of the new skins, the new outfit on the characters. Oh yeah. Flame sword. I think there are weapon skins that are part of the DLC. The weapons themselves are free, but you can have extra skins that make them look cooler. Look at that. All right, that's it. So let's take a look here. What we can identify. So I think the first thing is we have, I don't know how many, but I know that mech, like dedicated mech heads are a part of it. So you don't have to like build these weird looking heads. I don't know if this is the operator seat or if there's a new cockpit in here. I know that all these decals are like decals that we already have. However, the screen thing, I don't know. This is what I think is probably like, I don't know if that's actually part of the game or if that's just edited in post. All right, you may also notice that not only does he have a sword on the back of his hand, but he has a hand. This hand is a part. I mean, flame sword also a part. But yeah, take a look. I think we had a closer look at the hand. Oh, there we go. There's a closer look at the hand. So this is its own part. It looks like it's probably a 2x2 attachment point right there. They can just attach on the end of anything. Now, looking at this isn't the entirety of the mech head right here, because you can see that there's a hinge here with pipe pieces. So this is added on to the mech head. So I'm trying to figure out what is the mech head, what is just the mech head, which might be like obviously the face, but these things next to it are probably part of the mech head too. Yeah, that looks like a similar one. Are those the same mech head? No, these are different mech heads. You can look by so look down here. This thing has like a chin that is like a square chin here, and this like thing on the bottom of the chin. Whereas the other one, it's got some, oh, actually that could be a decal. That actually might just be a decal to make it look different. This might be the same mech head, but they do also have this like mohawk light thing up there on both of them. I'm wondering if it probably is part of the head. It's hard to tell what's added to the head and what's just the raw part, you know? But it is called Mech Update. And if we go to the upcoming releases on the DLC of Trailmakers, so there are two mech faces, it said. Mech cheeks. Oh, so those are actually separate parts, it seems. Let me see if I can identify anything in here. Oh yeah, so this must be the other mech face, more of like a helmet. Then we got this skin, and this skin, the helmet must be new, yeah? That helmet, and that helmet. Oh, there's the other mech face. Yeah, you see the eyes are completely different there. Or is that the other mech face? Because this one looks like a different mech head. Oh no, that's the character. You can see That's actually the character. That's pretty cool. They built it so that the character's head sticks out of the body and looks like the mech's actual head. That's actually pretty cool. Cleverly done there. So this must be the other mech face. You can see the eyes are on a different angle. These eyes are, it's more dead on. These eyes are more angry looking. That's cool. All right, so we get 2 mech hats, 2 mech ears. Okay, so we get ears as well. Interesting. 2 mech hands. Oh, left and right. So I guess 1 hand per side. I'm assuming that's what they mean by left and right with 2 times mech hands. I feel like actually maybe it is 2 different mech hands because they could have said 1x mech hands left and right, and that would still make sense. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be 2 different hands or just 2 hands, 1 left and 1 right. Mech hilt, mech feet. Oh, I didn't even notice feet. That might be mech feet there. Even in the trailer, we don't get a good look at if they have specific mech feet. All right, so don't know what those look like. We have 6 energy visor skins for seats. What? What is that? What does that mean? Energy visor skins? Oh, there's more. No, there's not more pictures. I don't know what that means. Energy weapon skins. So we have tech and flame. So we saw the flame. I think we saw the flame and the tech in the trailer. Yeah, so almost all of the existing seats will receive energy visor skins in this expansion. All right, well, I guess I'll have to wait to understand what that means. Sounds cool though. So we get the soldier and mech pilot outfits. And then this is actually pretty cool too. They're gonna add some templates to the game that are mech-based templates that'll give you the frame of a functional mech that you can then build and shape and design to what you want it to look like. So at least like the walking animations and all that stuff should be pre-programmed in there. So as mechs are notoriously the hardest things to build in Trailmakers, the blocks in this DLC help a lot with shaping, but walk cycles and the logic that goes behind it can be a cruel mistress. This expansion includes mech skeleton templates, barebone walkers, where all the tedious stuff has been made for you already. Decorate them however you see fit or reverse engineer them to learn the ins and outs. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, go ahead and add this to your wish list if you like what you like, if you're liking what you see. So what do you guys think are going to be the coolest things to do when it comes to videos after this gets released? Let me know down in the comments below, because we're going to do some testing. We're going to do some building. We're going to do some crazy experiments. And I want to know what kind of experiments you imagine would be really fun to try out on the channel. If you guys enjoyed this video, you'll probably enjoy some more. You can find it right here on the end screen. Hope this video has earned your subscription. Anyway, this has been ScrapMan, and I'll see you next time. Bye.